grow the fuck up. Yeah, there's probably three things most people should care about. When I say should, I don't mean any moral way. I mean, if they want to get the best out of life, the best out of themselves, be the best authentic version of themselves, as people will say, there's probably three things they do well to focus on. All right.
Go on.
First is think about the people they're associating with. And by that, I mean, I don't just mean friends and indeed family. I mean, the kind of people you're getting involved with on LinkedIn in any meaningful way, anything beyond maybe replying to a message or maybe thanking for a comment or liking or something. You know, someone you're actually fucking engaging with, anything more than a superficial level. Just pay attention to that. That matters. And so I actually disconnected from someone today. I disconnected as a connection because he was basically posting a load of nonsense about, of all things, chess playing. People who follow chess as take chess seriously are stupid because it's not a transferable skill. Well, the glaring error in that is he seems to think he's in a position to decide for others what they value.
Yeah.
I'm angry about it. I think he's wrong. And all I do is I don't care. So I disconnect because I'm not interested in him being a client and I've got no interest in anything he's got to say from this moment on. That's it. And I'm only mentioning it now to illustrate the point. There's no fucking point. Yeah. So it matters who you're communicating with, who you are allowing in your life. You know, these people you're close to. What are they? What do these people have you saying and doing and thinking, and how they are you behaving, and is that okay? That was straight from Jim Rohn. You know, he reckons something like that. You become the average of the five people you're closest to. How he got the number 5, I don't know. He probably pulled out his ass. But the principle is a good one. Now, the people around you will affect you. They will affect how you think, behave. If you're not really careful about this and choose them, and if you're not very careful about this, they will affect you. So if you can't avoid that, and I don't think you can, I think even the best of us will find ourselves being pulled one way or the other by people we associate with for a long period of time and closely. So often the only thing you can do is disconnect, and that includes from family. You know, my mother, I didn't disconnect, or I have now because she's fucking dead. But I mean, before she died, I didn't disconnect from her, but I didn't have a lot to do with her. And there were certain conversation or areas of conversation I wouldn't have with her. And if she started going down that route, I'd say, Mum, I'm not talking about this. And if you persist, I shall put the phone down. That was it. Well, it was for that very specific reason. Some people you just don't have certain conversations with. And if you don't want, if they won't respect that, you disconnect from them. It's just fucking straightforward. So, firstly, people you're associating with. So, everyone listening to this, look around at the people you are spending your time with. What have they got you thinking? What have they got you doing? What have they got you saying? What have they got you believing? And is that okay? It's a fucking powerful question, isn't it?
It is. It definitely is.
The second thing, of course, is following on from that, is what are you thinking and saying? Pay attention to that, because we've done this recently, haven't we? In the business, we've gone back to some of our fundamental assumptions and changed our sales and things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you think about the way we live our lives, it's all habitual. We are creatures of habit. The habits are just a kind of reflection of our assumptions, if you think about it. Because we started a pattern of behavior, which became a habit. And that was based on an assumption.
Yeah.
And then we proved the assumption. So by carrying on the behavior, we're kind of following that assumption through. Good example, it may even be true, but even if it's not, it's certainly a good story. Guy joins a brewery and he can't figure out why the delivery rounds are so fucking random, that they make no real sense. And he did his research and went back in time, and it turns out the original delivery routes were put together by the people who used to look after the horses when the drays were pulled by horses. So they did the heaviest and most distant deliveries early in the week when the horses were still fresh, and the closer, lighter deliveries later in the week when the horses were tired. Well, because that becomes habitual and people don't question this assumption, they just carried on that. So when they got motorized drays, that's what they did. Well, it might not be a true story, but it's not the point. It is a good story. It's illustrative. we are creatures of habit. So what are you thinking and saying? What are you doing without thinking about it, really thinking about it? You're just doing it. You're just thinking that way because that's the way you think. If you go to church, why are you going to church? Do you actually believe, or is it just because you've always been? You know? Why do you go to BNI if you go to BNI? Do you get business on it? Is it worthwhile? Do you check your numbers? Why do you write a daily email? Why do you post on LinkedIn? Because you feel, because I tell you why, because some people say they feel they have to. Well, why? Yeah. What results are you getting? You know, it's just fucking mind-blowing. People behave like automata. They do not think. Well, they are thinking in a sense as their brains are working, but they're not questioning what they're doing all the time.
People don't realize how much their lives are driven by their habits, and very few take a moment to actually stop, look at their habits, look at what they're thinking, look at what they're saying, and really evaluate it all. There's not many people that just stop, take everything in and just question everything in their life. You know,
yeah,
is this the best thing for me right now? And it's one of the most important things you can do. And anyone that is getting angry at things like the influencers and are thinking, well, how are Connor and John not angry? You probably need to get into some journaling and have some conversations with yourself every day.
Damn right. You keep disappearing. You there? Connor's gone. All right, I will carry on my own then. The third thing people should pay attention to is how aligned are your actions with what you're thinking and what you're doing. And I mean, a good example of this is, you know, we used to do sales calls. So we get people going through a process, and they'd be telling me about how shit their lives were, how shit their businesses were, about what they wanted to do, wanted to grow their businesses, wanted to get better clients, and the rest of it. And when they were presented with the opportunity to join us and do something about it, when they realized how much work was involved and what was involved and how uncomfortable it wasn't even about the price. All of a sudden, they didn't want to do it. So what you've got is people who are telling us they want a certain result and then doing something else. It's like, and I've known more than one person, it's like people who are overweight and unhealthy telling me how they're going to get fit and strong like me, but then carry on drinking and smoking and with an unhealthy lifestyle. Well, that's their choice, of course, but their actions are not aligned with their words and possibly not their thoughts. So that's difficult to know what people are thinking, because you can only tell from what they tell you. Unless, of course, you're one of these business gurus who pretends he knows what people are thinking from their words. Most of your life, you get people on LinkedIn and make these fucking complex psychological diagnoses on the basis of a few lines in a LinkedIn post. You know, you are narcissistic. You're obviously a psychopath. Oh, right, you know, never mind all these fucking clinical teams that have to spend a long time figuring this stuff out. You're a fucking warehouse manager, but you've got it fucking sorted. Obviously, these people have spent all their time on furlough studying this stuff, you know, so they can make these judgments. But yeah, you know.